Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we are talking about the Flax Engine. Now this may sound familiar to some of you because I actually covered this on the channel, but it was quite a while back. This was back in August 14th of 2018, so we're looking at darn near 2 years now, and that was the original 0.1 alpha version, and today we're covering it again because the 0.7 beta version was available as of today. Now one thing I gotta say is this is actually a closed beta, so you're gonna have to apply if you want to get in, but this is an upcoming C# powered game engine, and it just got a new feature that is definitely going to keep the C++ people happy as well. So that's what we're going to look at today. So if you're interested, you can check out that video. Again, it's 2 years old. It's probably of absolutely no use now, but if you watched the original one and you're still around, thank you for being a loyal listener. So what we're going to do is jump in and take a look at one of the examples. We'll start with kind of looking at some of what the graphics are all about. Now, as I mentioned, this is a C# powered engine. It is ultimately going to be commercial. We will look at some of the licensing details in a bit. It's going to fall somewhere in between the world of Unreal Engine and Unity. At least that is the goal they have in mind. Here you can see the interface. It's nice and clean. You got toolbox over here. You've got nice things built in here like CSG or solid constructive geometry, so you can do quick prototyping and so on. I'll just walk through in this example so you can actually see some of the graphical features of this particular engine. So here we go. We'll walk through. And we've got things like global illumination. You can see the effect as we go through. SSAO, or screen space ambient occlusion. We got screen space reflections. We have environmental probes. We've got depths of field. You got to walk in it to get the depth of field effect, by the way. We've got bloom. We've got lens flares, because you can always have more lens flares. Color grading. We've got post VFX volumes. 2 going on right here. We have a realistic sky situation going on right there. We have volumetric fog. We have lighting. You can see that there's different effects between point light and spotlights. We got area lights, lighting fall off, IES profiles, constructive or CSG. As you see here, you can do things like Booleans to quickly prototype levels, picture-in-picture camera effects, and decals or decals, depending on how you prefer I say that one today. So this is kind of one of the tour examples they've got available. I've actually got 3 of them loaded up, so if you want to check out some of the capabilities, here is their material tool. They have a comprehensive material system built in. We're going to load up a material in just a second, but you can sort of see it in action here. We've got things like physically based rendering, so metallic, wooden materials being emulated there. We've got material color, metallic effects here, so a plastic and metal on the right side, same material with a metal shader on it instead. Roughness, specular examples, emissive materials, so you can see a material that gives off light, animated materials, transparent materials. We've got opacity, various different effects there, alpha blending, vertex offsets. You can see wobble, wobble, wobble. Normal mapping, parallax occlusion, displacement mapping, tessellation, two-sided materials. We got material instances, layered materials, forward pass, post-effects materials. I got to go in here to actually see it. We got, again, decals or decals, subsurface, and blend modes. We've also got particle system support, and that is in this example right here. So you can see some of the particle effects that are built into the engine here. Things like CPU-based and GPU-based particle systems, light-emitting particles, particles that are a 3D model, such as these avocados, particle ribbons. We've got attached ribbons, obviously, so you've got things like animated meshes as well. Smoke effects, heat distortion, snow effects, collision with particles, and sampling texture. So those are some of the examples that are available. By the way, these are available from the GitHub download for the samples that are out there. It gives you an idea of the kind of content that is available to you and the kind of functionality that this engine provides. The approach to things is pretty straightforward. So here we're going to look is the player object, and you're going to notice we can attach a script to the player object. So it's got things like a character controller, a collider, and so on. I could go ahead and I could drag and drop a script in here. Scripts in this particular case are C#, but as you're going to see in the 0.7 release notes, they can also be C++ with live reload. This one has the camera script, the player script attached. There are editors available for, so we can go straight up here and open this guy straight up in Visual Studio, or we can grab the particular script we are interested in here and edit it this way. Now I actually have no, this is the graphics tour, but it gives you an idea anyways. It's the player script from one of the previous projects. I already have it opened up, so I'll showcase this one instead. This gives you an idea of how the scripting actually works. And so you've got your typical callbacks, things like on update, on fixed update, and then various functions you want to build in. You got things like debug draw. So you handle the various different callbacks. So your various different things here. So here's the camera for the picture-in-picture script, for example. And again, it just basically handles various different callbacks on update, on draw, on fixed update, on disable, etc. And that is where you could do the majority of your coding. As you can see from this particular example, it is all using C#. It looks like my other project is open now. So this is the project for the particle tours instead, but basically the same stuff. So here is their player script, and it's the same kind of deal. Again, you're handling just various different callbacks. If you've worked with pretty much any modern game engine, you got a pretty good idea of what you are dealing with here. Let's head back on over. Let's go this one. So which one's this? Okay, this is the particle effects. Actually, I want the other one. Let's do the material effects instead. Actually, this one will work. Graphics features. So you can see a number of the materials that are in this scene. So here we got harsh bricks. Now you're going to notice immediately we have a material creation system, completely visual for creating your materials. Now the cool thing is with this, and then obviously you have a real-time preview of it over here. We also have the ability to go down and work with a lower level shading materials now. So if you want to have more fine-tuned control, you do have that option in the 0.7 release as well. On top of that, you also have documentation for all of the things that we're working at. This is actually a pretty well documented game engine. So if you want to get in there, get your hands dirty, the documentation is all there. Now, I know you're going to obviously have certain questions like what engines does this run on? What platforms can it target? Is it open source or not? What does it cost? And let's do all of those things right now. Specifically, if you want to check out and learn more about Flax Engine, once again, right now it is in private beta, so you'll have to apply to get in, but it is available at flaxengine.com. I will, of course, link that in the linked article down below. In terms of the features, we kind of covered off a lot of them, but you've got really nice visual effects going on. You have a full editor, WYSIWYG environment that you can, create and place things in your world. Then, of course, you can attach those scripts easy enough. You see the scripting details over here. You can use C# for doing your game logic. As I mentioned, kind of a spoiler alert, in 0.7, we also have C++ with live reloads. We'll see that in just a second. And then we have various other features, which I'll actually go into right now. We've got things like nested prefabs. We have Vulkan support. We have DirectX 12 support. We have PhysX support. And here you can see, how does this compare to other game engines? So compared to other game engines, Flax can be placed somewhere between Unity and Unreal Engine 4. Astonishing graphics capability and performance, having support for C# scripting and advanced materials pipeline. Flax Engine contains all of the best features of available game engines. We do everything for you. Choose the right engine for your need. Choose Flax. So if you're interested in grabbing it, click that link and bring you to the download link. I don't know, again, how their sign-up process works. I did this 2 years ago, but I'm still active, so I don't know what you will have to go through to do it, because unfortunately when I log in, I'm logged in and it's available to me. So the big thing and the reason why I'm talking about specifically today is Flax 0.7 was released, and there's some pretty big stuff in here. We've got support for PlayStation 4 and Xbox Scarlet, or Xbox, let's see, what would be Xbox One 2, whatever the hell they're end up calling it. We've got support for gameplay globals, shader hot reloading, and then probably the big one that people are going to be excited about, especially if you are a C++ diehard. You do have C++ scripting support in there. So changes they've done, they changed out the way the project files format works, but the big one here again is probably the C++ scripting. It finally happened. You can use C++ in Flax games to script gameplay. Starting from this update, we will distribute engine header files and build tools to compile and run native code in Flax. All you need to do is install platform-dependent tool sets with the compiler, and you are ready to go. Flax supports seamless C++ and C# scripting. We've created an open ecosystem where you can mix both languages and leverage Flax tools to create great projects. We've managed to write automatic C# binding generators in Flax.build, create hacking native object vtables for virtual calls, and support for hot reloading C++ and C# in editor. So in order to get that hot reloading on the Unreal Engine side of things, they actually bought a company called Live++. That's pretty impressive that they got C# or C++ support in as a scripting language, which means you can basically write new C++ code to control your game objects and have it not require a complete rebuild for it to update. You can actually use C++ as a scripting language, and that is something you cannot do in Unity. You cannot do it in Godot. You can use C++ to create like GD native or modules, but you cannot use it as a scripting language. And then, of course, in Unity, you can use C++ as a scripting language, but you cannot, at least without an extension, we'll get to that in a couple days, by the way, without an extension, use C#. So it kind of hits that middle ground. You've got C# support and C++ support support if you so wish with the 0.7 release. On top of that, again, PlayStation 4 and the next Xbox versions are both supported on Flax. We got additional shader support going on here. We've got gameplay globals, UI anchors for your positioning of your UI elements, new functions, inverse kinematic supports. We got a lot of other things, but I think, again, the star of the show is certainly going to be C++ support. We've also got the ability to have custom editor themes if for some reason you want to look like you're creating user interface from Tron, I guess. So definitely a nice thing here. This also should be the last major refactor for the underlying API. So if you want to start committing towards a 1.0 release, your code should at least be more stable going forward. So that is it. I know there are going to be a ton of questions, and the best I can do is answer as they come from the FAQ. What it is, it's a game engine. That's pretty straightforward. What platforms can I make applications for? And in that case, you can target Windows, Linux, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, UWP, as well as Android, iOS, Mac, and Switch coming later. And on top of that, as you saw from 0.7, we've got PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet. Now, of course, you are going to need to have a developer license for any one of those platforms to target them in the first place. You're probably also wondering, what platforms does this actually run on? Unfortunately, you are Windows only. Requirements are Visual Studio and Windows 7 or 10, at least 10, but I also think it runs on 7 as well. Is it free? It is free for uncommercial and educational uses, but for a commercial project, you have to pay a 4% royalty after $3,000 per quarter. So you can make, I guess, up to, quick math here, that's 12 grand a year. After that, you basically have to start paying, let's see, 4% of your game's profits, or revenue, I guess that would be. So that is kind of the gist of it here. If you want to get C++ source code access, you do have to apply for it. And you can see a little bit more of a breakdown of how that actual royalties work and so on. So you can see, how much this will cost you. It's going to be a little tricky to sell a game engine in this age, because now we have Godot really kind of nailing it on the open source and free front. And then you have Unity change their revenue scheme to be a flat, what are they, 6%? But you can make up to $1 million before you got to start paying royalties now. So being, in that hobbyist to small independent kind of category area, it's a hard sell against the likes of Unity, but there are a couple things it's definitely got going for it. We've got things like cleanness, simplicity. It's a lot more straightforward. You do have C# support and C++ live reload support out of the box, which I know are going to be appealing features to some. And it's got no baggage, so you don't have, a lot of people particularly may not like Unity, or may not like Unreal, or may not like Unity technologies, or may not like Epic Games. Well, these guys are new, so they haven't managed to annoy anybody yet, but that's a rather weird reason to pick a game engine, I suppose. So yeah, that is kind of it. That is the Flax Engine. Again, I covered it 2 years ago. It's come quite a ways since then. It looks like their next version is going to be 1.0, so it looks like we will be moving more towards a commercial release, a general access release. And as you saw, you can use this guy for free with your free projects. And let's be honest, a lot of indie developers are never going to make $3 grand a quarter, so really that price tag may not be a huge issue at the end of the day. But they do have to compete, and they have to be better than Unreal, Unity, Godot, CryEngine, Lumberyard, or any of the various different other game engines in some way. And it'd be interesting to see how that works. Like, I do have to say, though, live C++ scripting support is definitely a big one for many people. So let me know what you think of the Flax Engine, of the concept. Have you managed to work with it? If so, what did you think? And do you think trying to sell a game engine in this day and age, is it a waste of time, or do you think there's a niche for them? Let me know all those things down below. And by the way, happy belated Canada Day, happy 4th of July, or happy July early in the month. Have a good one. All right, talk to you all later.